wasn't Young Echo was sort of like you kicked it off with Seb in like 2011?
Yeah, and Chris.
So that was like the beginnings of the whole thing.
Yeah. We were trying to think of a name for ages.
Just trying to think of a name for ages, yeah.
We came up with a lot of shit ones.
I liked Young Echo at the time because, like you said, it sounded like a dancehall MC or something.
A lot of what I know about my identity and about myself, I got through music, reggae music and hip hop. Try to find yourself, and so I'm just following in that strain.
But I don't think that the idea is to have an emphasis on a political agenda.
But I think a lot of us come from musical backgrounds that are quite like inherently political, like you grew up with punk and stuff. Me and Alex used to listen to a lot of hip hop and, you know, so it's kind of like maybe not explicit a lot of the time, but I think it runs through a lot of music that we all really like.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah.
Yeah, like you said, it's only like a mission statement in as much as it felt like a really strong thing to say for the label for the first record, I guess.
As a producer, I find that, I think there's a lot you can do with how your mindset is when you're producing a track, but also the conversation you have with the artist that the vocalist you're collaborating with.
Before we even knew each other, because at the beginning there was just 5 of us in the group just doing radio shows, and it was interesting how, although we were writing separately and in different studios and things, like there was a kind of theme almost, or like at least a vibe, I guess, that kind of linked a lot of it together, and we wanted to explore that a lot, and that's carried on, I think, to our work now. We work often in different groups and different variations, but it's still very free and open. But I think there's naturally just an occurring kind of something that binds it all together in a quite loose way.
I think it's just like a love of being creative and just respecting each other's creativity, to be honest. I mean, that's it for me, I think. Yeah.
It's kind of about challenging ourselves as well a lot of the time. We're not all necessarily into the same music. Like there's kind of areas where we cross over, but that's what's been interesting. I think Young Echo, certainly for me, speaking for myself, felt like a place to be experimental and like free, really, aside from club music or any other kind of things that we're all involved with individually. And it's important to us to try and keep it as open as we can, which can be chaotic, but it's also very creative as well when it's going well. So, yeah.
The kind of the common element maybe is like the input that we have and listening to each other and the respect that everyone kind of shows for each other, which is why maybe we couldn't run a house label or run a dubstep label or run a hip hop label or run a reggae. You know what I mean? It just wouldn't work. But the commonality is our input and how we're listening to things, maybe.
Like we are a peer group, and then our output is different, and so it becomes interesting, like a more accurate representation of something because it's varied. And I've always enjoyed that about it.
It is still like a feedback loop between all of us, but at least we've got quite a lot of like different things. There's different starting points for all of us, so it's not like like Chris said, we're all making house tracks and all copying each other's house tracks or whatever. Like we might take something, but people will probably never know what we've taken from each other because it becomes more of like an abstract thing, I guess, that we take from each other.
So I call myself Ishan, and in that I do steppers, but also I guess I have a secret one as well, which I do like like grungy, like electronic stuff, which is maybe what I listen to more. But apparently my other alias isn't allowed in the group, so that's...
Neek likes, you like flipping happy hardcore and stuff, innit? Yeah, there's nothing wrong with happy hardcore. There's nothing wrong with happy hardcore.
The beginnings of happy hardcore. Yeah.
Proto happy hardcore.
Yeah.
But he doesn't, that's just... I actually don't, to be fair. I'll have to have a fight about it. I like playing like 50s Middle Eastern music and Bollywood soundtracks from Nigeria and stuff like that.
21 Savage. It's fucking amazing.
Right. Keeping it contemporary.
And because of Amos and Lil Yachty. Fuck.
Couple good tunes. Some of his tunes are shit. Some are
Ugly God. Ugly
Don't
God.
kill Lil Yachty out.
That's what joins us all together. Is Ugly God.
I like Alexander O'Neill as well. I've been playing that for nights.
Oh.
Barry White at 33 RPM.
Romance and love bursts and scratched it in blunt to the nib, scored into fresh organs.
I think it's a small place, really. It's like everyone calls it like a big village here, which I guess it kind of is. A lot of us grew up together as well, so we're kind of, as Chester said, we're kind of a peer group first, we're kind of friends first. You kind of see the same faces around all the time, because it's kind of a natural, I don't know, friendly atmosphere, I guess.
And it's like there's so much interesting stuff going on that you're interested in it, so you want to get involved in it. Like even if you don't necessarily want to make it the focus of your work, you want to, like, you know somebody who's doing something interesting, and part of the reason it's interesting is because it's not what you're doing, and so you know you just end up working because it's so stimulating. There's so much stuff going on.
Yeah, and if people build something good, I don't think anyone's there to like if someone historically has built something positive in Bristol, it doesn't seem like anyone has ever held on to that and made it kind of exclusive in the same way, like to kind of hold it and make themselves, you know, get rich off it or something like that.
Sure.
It's always been a bit more maybe open, I don't know.
We're happy to see each other do well, I think, as well. Just in general, like there's no kind of bad feeling. You don't really find that, or if you are like that, then like you're sort of exposed quite quickly because everyone else is so kind of chilled out.
You know, if you're going to start something, it's going to be supported. Like, yeah. Because everybody supports everyone else. Like, that's what it's all about. Like, not just Young Echo, all of the other crews. Like,
People making music here, though, there's somewhere where they can play their music. There's record stores, there's different people around, there's different creatives around. Here, there's people who are making videos, there's people who are making beats, there's lots of vocalists, you know? There's photographers, there's people that are doing things. So that kind of helps.
Dan, who's in the crew, who's not here, like runs about, I don't even know how many labels now, but he's kind of like made his own little micro industry basically in Bristol, and it's obviously been helpful for all of us over the years, like putting records out and distributing it all himself, and he's kind of like definitely a role model, I think, to people wanting to just fully start from kind of your bedroom and then just make it into your own. When you need people like that, and I think as Ryder said, it's like not everywhere is like that, and that's what makes Bristol quite special.
There's a long-standing tradition of like people just making music and putting themselves on and creating a scene here as well that's been here long before any of us.
Yeah.
So,
I think as well when people ask, it's the same when people ask about like Bristol sound, all that stuff, it's like, if you're actually from here or have been working here, it's really hard to know what you're talking about, because it's just natural, all of it's just like naturally occurring themes or naturally occurring attitudes to things, and do you know what I mean? I think we're all writing music which the general people that listen to us wouldn't know about, you know. It's hard to, certainly like for me and Sam, for instance, like Kahn and Neek, like it's, you know, we get so known for just one type of thing in a way. It's quite refreshing and fun for us to just go completely in a different direction and, you know, play completely different stuff.
And it was kind of you and Dan, wasn't it, Amos, that started them first, the events, and then me and Dan have done them over the years since then. So we've kind of taken it in turns to arrange them and book them. But
yeah, I was going to say some of those radio shows were basically live
They
shows,
were.
just with
They were
a
fucking
PA
amazing.
set up
They
and
were
recording
so
them. It was pretty live. There was some
And that's kind of just
packed.
how the crew's always worked, is it's naturally just evolved, and even with the membership it's like,
that's why none of us know what we're talking about.
none of us know what we're on about. But I quite like that. In a weird way.
Just organic.
It's organic, mate. It's organic, yeah.
No
It's
pesticides.
fine. It's punk, mate, it's fine. Just do what you want, innit? There's going to be a Young Echo album.
You heard it here first.
We just made music for, how long was it, a week?
Yeah, about a week, yeah.
We made music for a week. and then did nothing with the music.
Fair enough.
We do so much music together, and a lot of it never gets released. We sleep on a lot of really good music. So now that we do have the label, we can kind of release tracks that we have that the world hasn't heard.
It's been hard whittling it all down as well, because as Ryder says, it's like we've got so much music, just sat on so much different stuff, and trying to actually form it into an album that works, you know, listening all the way through, representing everyone in the crew. It's been quite tricky, so it's taken time, but I think it's definitely a massive step up from the first album, which came out years ago now. But it was important to us starting the label to be completely in control of it, I think, and like not have to answer to anyone else about how we want to present it or how we want to, you know, what order you should do things, artwork, all those things that sometimes you come across with other labels, and we want to be completely in control.
Not following no rules, we're just making what we make, what we feel. You know?
I think, like, you know, like you're saying, those variations of different studio combinations and people testing their limits in a sense of like what they've tried doing creatively before musically, is all kind of like the process to like the eventual product, which will be the album kind of thing. So even if there's like a lot of material that doesn't make it out in this package, at least, you know, I think it's all been like part of the journey of us getting to more of a set sound for this record. So, what do you think, Chester?
Wasn't listening.
You were listening.
I got about like 2 minutes in.
Yeah, just.
So tell me where you are. Mommy said tell me where you are.